Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who subs to this whole damn channel, especially those of you who are fans of the 19th hole. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Our next goal is 10K. We're going to keep this train rolling, winning you money this week at the RBC Canadian Open. Before we kick off the intro, I will ask everyone to kind of take a few seconds to think about the late, great Grayson Murray, who took his own life last weekend. Our hearts go out to his family and his friends. So if you've ever had any thoughts of just hopelessness, or if you just don't feel yourself, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Share in your grief. Share in your pain. Grayson Murray was outward about his struggles, and it still, in the end, was too much. So, a moment of silence for Grayson Murray, starting now. Thank you. Well, here we are, 19th hole. Connor, how you doing, buddy? Got the hat on backwards, all business, muted still, prime form. Love to see it.
Yeah, I can't win them all, man. I can't even win for trying, to be honest.
Not lately. It's been a good little, I can't even call it a hot streak because I haven't been doing that great myself. But against you, it's the ultimate slump buster.
Yeah, I'm just here to make you feel better about you.
It's working so well.
Just one donation at a time and put your kids through college.
Very slowly.
Very, very slowly.
The trickle down effect. $9 a week. For $9 a week, you can support a young child in Northern California.
Or a full grown ass man too. I mean, who knows?
It takes a little bit more for that. Shout out to all our Canadians. This is your national tournament, the Canadian Open, RBC. The second RBC labeled event. The Heritage was a few weeks ago, a couple months ago actually, down there at, was it Harbortown RBC Heritage, which is funny because you got a tournament in South Carolina that's sponsored by the Royal Bank of Canada, and now you have the Canadian Open, which is sponsored by the Royal Bank of Canada. Make it make sense. I mean, the Royal Bank of Canada must be doing great if they got all this marketing money to throw around. You would think they would put it into the exchange rate. Am I right, loonies?
I'm guessing they're doing better than you and I are. That's for sure.
Oh, it's a bank. They're naturally doing just fine.
Oh man! All right, we're getting back. We're getting back in the W column this week.
Royals in the house. Our favorite Canadian from the province of Alberta. He's still kicking himself that the Edmonton Oilers are still alive in the NHL playoffs, because I mean Calgary and Edmonton don't get along. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys.
A real civil war going on up there.
No, really, because Edmonton is kind of like your ritzy, like suburban type city where they're a little bit more white collar, and Calgary is more of a blue collar town. So they get a little bit of a clash going, and they're pretty close. I mean, it's a big province, Alberta, but these two cities are pretty close to each other, so they don't get along that well. Maybe it's just they're just sick of each other's shit. And get your cousin. Oh, your cousin on the other side of the family there is from Alberta, from Calgary. Yeah, and so he's rooting for the Dallas Stars because the 4-hour drive in Canadian terms, that's 4 hours is a lot of not very many kilometers.
I'm over the whole damn thing. Once the Avs were out, that was it for me. So,
Well, I am a Vegas Golden Knights fan by way of the Sharks sucking my entire life. Like, even when the Sharks had the best record in the league, they would always get knocked out in the first round. So it was, I kind of latched onto the Golden Knights because Vegas is my second home, and so Golden Knights won the title a couple of years ago. Go Knights! But yeah, it's been pretty rough. So
it's the one part of Colorado that I've held on to. It's the Avalanche.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep, I had the privilege of watching
the Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, Patrick Waugh. Yeah, those are the good old days.
Oh yeah. Nope.
Yeah. The Sharks were lucky enough to have the worst record and get the first pick. So they'll have that teenager, I forget where he's from. I think it's from Canada. He's going to be 17 years old, played his entire Boston University freshman season as a 17-year-old, and now he's going to be the first pick in the draft. That's pretty cool.
It's a lot like golf. All these youngins, man.
Oh man, and we got some good ones in the field this week. What are you drinking?
I actually am drinking a Good Boy seltzer. Little John Daly endorsement.
John Daly. So John Daly, what's the mixture for the John Daly? It's tequila and something?
No, it's actually just a vodka and an Arnold Palmer is the original. Okay. So all of these are varying degrees of flavored iced tea and lemonade and vodka.
Arnie Palmy.
Arnie Palmy. Her name is Christina.
Are you deaf or are you just dumb? I am actually going to shout out to Canada, and I'm going with the Crown Royal Peach Tea Seltzer. Delicious.
This is jacked up because this was not planned that you and I are both drinking seltzers tonight. That's
yeah, this is Canadian whiskey, peach flavoring, other natural flavors. That sounds delicious. Brewed tea and caramel color. So it's technically a whiskey cocktail in a can. Excellent. And I had one yesterday poolside for Memorial Day. Shout out to all our vets. And Memorial Day, we're remembering all the men and women who laid their lives down for the cause of freedom. I mean, this is the greatest country in the world. Freedom. Let's go. Sorry, Canada, but I mean, you can hang on our belt loop all you want. The North America kicks ass, and yeah, join us in the freedom. You have a lot of freedom up there yourselves. Cheers. Crown Royal Peach. Ooh, that's so good. 7% ABV. Doesn't taste like it. That's a good thing.
Yeah, this is gonna get real good.
I knew he would know. Macklin Celebrini, Italian name for, I think he's from Eastern Canada. All right. RBC Canadian Open. We got a new course in the Rota, or one we haven't seen in 5 years, since 2019. And a familiar face was the guy who completely destroyed the field last time it was at this place. We're going to go to the Caddy notes after the drop here. Connor, are you ready to wax poetic?
I am ready. Couldn't be more ready.
All right. Shout out Canada. Wave the loony flag. 19th hole. I should have done the intro in French, but it didn't fit with what we were doing with the Grayson Murray thing. I do speak French. I at least read and write in French. My conversational French has gone by the wayside because I just realized that I graduated college 15 years ago. Isn't that disgusting?
I'm still doing the math. It's longer than that.
I know, because you're older than me by like 6 years, 5-6 years. I don't know. You're 42 or 43. I can't remember.
42. Lucky number 42.
So you're only 5 years older than me. That's not bad.
No, I feel worse. Trust me. I tried to play golf a couple times this weekend. It went poorly. My back is numb.
Oh, good. That's always good. Need some lidocaine patches to get you through the round.
Yep. I had the full on lidocaine spray. Just absolutely lathering up.
The last time I played was at the private club, so everything was pristine. They had the bug spray in the clubhouse, like because we have the no-see-ums this time of year, the
Oh
biting
yeah.
gnats that you don't know that they're biting you until the next day. It's pretty rough, but they loaded us up on that spray and a bunch of free stuff in the clubhouse. Everything was great. So yeah,
God, every
my
time I go to my parents' house, I get absolutely mangled by those no-see-ums. Oh my
they're
God.
nasty.
Oh,
And it's funny because we get like 3 days in a row here of above 100 degrees and they die. And so we welcome the heat.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I look like some kind of I don't even know. Like I'm just more freckled than normal after they get done with me.
Well, what do you think about this golf course? It's a short one, but
Short one.
it's only par 70, so not necessarily an easy course from what I remember.
Yeah, I'm got kind of mixed feelings on this course, and we don't have a ton of information or history to go off of, but we'll
Yeah.
try and dissect her a little bit. RBC Canadian Open at Hamilton Golf and Country Club. It's a par 70, 7,084 yards, bent grass, and then this is kind of another tree-lined parkland style golf course without near the penalty that we saw of like previous weeks. Fairways are
It's
wider.
no Colonial, that's for sure.
No, no, it certainly is not. The fairways are going to be a little bit wider. The trees are less encroaching.
That didn't say much.
Yeah, exactly. The course has three, possibly four par fours that could be drivable depending on tee box placements and
Mhm.
wind conditions. Greens are small. They're not to the extent of last week or even the previous 2 weeks. A bit more sloping and undulating though, so solid wedge play, good putting,
Yep.
the
Yep.
ability to get
Yep.
up and down is going to be important. Um, in my opinion, I know you and I disagree on this. I think distance is going to be firmly a weapon this week, and yeah,
I don't
really,
entirely disagree with that.
it's. I mean, it's a
We saw it weaponized last time.
yeah, and I think Rory's got the blueprint here. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the course does set up to be able to be taken by somebody who's just incredibly accurate. You don't have to be long.
Right.
I just think that the approach shots are going to be a lot more manageable and a lot closer in proximity, just because you're going to have some of the guys in this field that are going to be hitting 100 to 125 pretty routinely on most approach shots. So I probably am a little heavier on the distance metrics this week than maybe I should be, but that's the route I'm taking. A couple things with the weather. At least last I checked it, we're going to be rainy and very cool. I think Thursday it's only supposed to be around 50 degrees when people tee off. That's going to be pretty status quo until Sunday, and Sunday will be the only day really that we're not projected to have any additional moisture. Wind looks to be pretty consistent, anywhere from about 9 to 14 miles per hour all week. Given the cool temperatures and the amount of moisture we're getting, I think this place is going to be playing pretty slow and pretty receptive. That could actually help significantly with some of the green complexes as well. So,
Yep.
yeah, again, I don't have a whole lot of experience with this course. I don't think a whole lot of people do. Bo hit on it last time the RBC was held here was in 2019, where Rory dismantled this place. A 22 under, beat who was
7-shot win. Yeah.
yeah, 7 shots over Webb Simpson.
Yeah, and Sung Jae was there too.
So
And so Sung Jae and Rory were the only leaders among the top 10 who were above the field in driving distance. So most of the top 10 guys, except for Rory and Sung Jae, were in the shorter range than average. But that doesn't mean that bombing it doesn't work here, because Rory won by 7 shots, hitting it in areas where nobody else hit it. And that's why you said it's the blueprint. If you're long and accurate, you're going to have some really good looks at birdies here. You're going to have some really good looks at making putts on very challenging greens. So you touched on it. Putting is important here. What we kind of lose sight of a little bit is the way Rory beat everybody last time was because this guy was hitting wedges into most of these greens. Obviously, it's only 7,000 yards. But he was on his wedge game. He was locked in, and he was closer to the pin than anybody else. And that dude didn't miss a single putt. It seemed like this dude was number one in the field in strokes gained putting that week. He didn't miss anything. And so it was just, I think he shot 61 in the final round, which is 9 under par in the final round to just completely lap the field.
Well, and I think he gained 7 strokes putting that week too. So I mean,
Yeah, and that's not Rory like. Like Rory is like if he gains 1 or 2 strokes, he's gonna win. And it just seems like his wedge game back then was better than it is now. But that's for me. I'm looking at that wedge play. I'm looking at the putting. I'm looking at proximity more than anything. And the distance, yeah, it is a plus because if you can find the fairways with distance, like Rory does and a couple other in this field can do, that's going to be a big advantage. And the advantage is going to be able to get the ball closer on those 150 and in approaches. And then par 3 scoring is extremely huge here because 3 of the 4 are over 200 yards. So you're going to have to look at the long approach bucket as well as the short. For 5 or 6 of these holes, you're going to see approaches 185 and above. And I think you're going to see a lot of variance with just overall approach being so important here because if you're putting from 40, 50 feet on these greens, you ain't going to be scoring. These greens are tough enough to show teeth, even if it is soft and receptive. You have to be straight. You have to be in birdie range. And so one of your favorite stats, Connor, I'll give you all the homage for this one. Opportunities gained, number 1 weighted in my metrics this week. And it was so nice to see I cracked the Alex Noren code. So stats to build on, opportunities gained. Alex Noren, if you don't run for opportunities gained, will be in the top 5 of your model every single time. And yet he's only logged 2 top 10s in the last 2 years. You know why? Because he's 124th in this field, which isn't a great field, in opportunities gained. He just finds fairways. He hits the greens, but he's not necessarily close. He's not giving himself a ton of birdie opportunities. He doesn't do anything special. He makes all the cuts. He makes top 25 most of the time, but this guy's never chasing the top of the leaderboard. It's because he doesn't give himself scoring chances. And that's going to be really important here.
It gets worse too when you look at not to get on Noren quite yet, but just a couple quick things since we're talking about him too is you look at his driving distance, 113th in the field. You look at proximity from 125 all the way up to 175. He middles out around 97th in this field for that approach metric. It's just like
he's like if you order Scotty Scheffler off Temu. Because he hits the fairways, he hits the greens, but he's not making birdies. He's not really putting himself into short tap in birdie range. Like, because to be honest, you look at the metrics aside from opportunities gained, those two are up at the top next to each other on approach, strokes gained on approach, strokes gained off the tee. His short game's pretty decent. He putts okay. It's just you look at what he's actually doing. Scotty's number 1 in opportunities gained by a long shot over everybody else. So when he's in the field, you're looking at it going, "Oh man, he's gonna lap it." And Alex Noren just shows up in the top 5 of my rankings every week, but this week I decided I was going to put a lot of emphasis on opportunities gained, and wouldn't you know, Alex Noren was nowhere to be found, and I actually smiled because I was like, I did it. I cracked the code. I figured out what made Alex Noren not special and why we keep having to talk about him.
And he ends up worse than mine too because I weighted driving distance pretty heavy too. So yeah, and just like Temu, he probably will steal your wallet or steal your credit card information because he's not winning shit.
No,
needs the money.
Yeah, unless you got a top 20 bet with some decent teeth, it's not going to be worth it.
No.
All right, well, let's get right into betting on golf. We got some guy named Rory McIlroy from Northern Ireland is the favorite here. Let's hit that after the drop. So the etymology of McIlroy is son of the king. So there you go.
I don't know if he's the son anymore. He just might be the king, but
he's damn good. Plus 360 though. That's pretty steep. And I know this field is very top heavy because he's in the field at the top, but I mean, do we kind of want to do the Scotty Scheffler treatment, which almost paid off in a big way last week? I was able to get a 10-1, and a couple other people got 18-1 before he birdied 17 on Thursday. Shot 2 over par on Thursday and was quite a ways back. We got a good line on him, and he, of course, lit the place on fire on Friday and Saturday, and then didn't quite have enough on Sunday because Davis Riley was cruising. Like, that dude was on a mission. And you tip your cap to Davis Riley. I mean, that was a hell of a 4-day tournament, and it underscores just how good the PGA Tour is from top to bottom. When you have the best player in the world and a guy who's never won a solo title, and the class of that field was the guy who hadn't won by himself.
Just wild too how it ebbs and flows, man. We were on Davis Riley so hot and heavy, like probably 18 months ago, and haven't really talked about him since. And out of nowhere, he does pretty much what I think at least people that follow golf knew he was capable of. I mean, he's definitely a very talented player. But to my knowledge, he was on nobody's watch list this week. I mean, this was not exactly what I would have said was Davis Riley centric.
No, he was 73rd in my model when I went back, so it wasn't, unless he was a hat pick, he wasn't going to be on any of our radars. And it was because he hadn't done it lately. We usually model out to 24, 36 rounds, and I went back to 50 and 72 rounds, and he was higher. So it was in him. Like, this guy has good performances, but they were few and far between. He's made about half of his cuts this season, and when he's made the cuts, he's looked really good. He's chased some leaderboards, but it was not. I didn't think he was a Colonial type guy, but apparently he is, because that was a ball striking display that he put on.
Yeah, goes to show you got to look at not only recent history but long term, because some of these guys will just pop out of nowhere. So
are we giving Rory the treatment?
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, that's how I wrote him up this week too. I flat out said he's a good bet to consider, but I would wait to bet it live. Pulling a bow is probably the right way to play Rory this week, and you just hope he starts a little slow, and Rory tends to. Like, it usually takes a few holes for him to get it going. So I'd say
if he finds a groove, though, like he did last time at 2019 on Sunday when he shot 61, if he finds that groove, ain't nobody beating him. Not in this field.
No, and frankly, I think he does it again. I mean, Rory is playing some seriously good golf this year. So I think what you hope for is he starts off with just some modest pars, maybe gets to the third, fourth hole, and you see that number start to move a little bit. You hope somebody else starts hot, and you can get it somewhere closer to that 10-1 number. Fire away at that live. But plus 360, that's not smart money. It's no. I mean, even if Rory wins, I'll be there cheering him on, but I'm not betting it at 360.
It's just the value's not there, and that's why we have live betting. That's why we have the opportunities that we have to bet Scotty Scheffler at plus 1,000 or plus 1,100. This is kind of the same thing where I don't feel quite as good betting Rory when he's 5-6-1. I think I'll wait him out a little bit longer. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You don't have to bet Rory McIlroy if you don't feel good about it. If the number doesn't slip that far, like he comes out on Thursday and shoots 64, then you're not going to bet Rory McIlroy. Like, it's still not smart money. Even if you know you're going to win, he's going to win. You just say, hey, we're taking the week off. But other than him, this field isn't that strong, and I know you got a couple guys here at the top that we want to play on just in case Rory's a little bit off this week, especially with the wedge game that he's going to be put on. That's going to be put on full display is how sharp his wedge game is, which has been his weak spot this season, the entire year.
It's been better lately, but yeah, if I had to pick a weak spot for him, that's probably it.
Yeah, he gets the over the top pull, where he's on the green, but he's 25 feet away instead of 10 feet away. And that's a big difference, because your birdie opportunities, you're looking at 1 and 3 if you're within 10 feet. You're looking at 1 and 8 if you're farther away. It's a big difference.
So where are you starting this week?
I kind of want to start with Corey Connors. I mean, shout out to the Canadians, but this is the week where I don't think putting matters as much because of the way he plays. And yes, putting will matter for a lot of these guys, but his off the tee game, his approach game are so good that I think he'll be looking at shorter birdie putts than the rest of the field, and that's going to play here. I didn't like him last year because putting was very important, and Nick Taylor proved that. But on this golf course, I think that if you're closer in proximity on approach, which he's obviously really good in this field for a strokes gain on approach, especially in the short area distance that we're going to be dealing with. He's great off the tee, obviously. I just think that he's going to gain a lot of opportunities, and he's going to put himself in position to make those birdie putts more often than not. I'm going to overlook his absolutely dreadful putting just for the simple fact that he's going to have so many chances to make birdies here. Hey, Finau did not burn Conor.
No, I otherwise I'd have led the show in talking shit on Tony Finau.
But you got burned by a couple other people. Like we both got burned on, or I got burned on Max Homa. You got burned on your other guy besides Finau. Do you want to talk about it?
No. Nope.
Finau didn't burn you though.
I got to be honest though. Keep it on track. I'm sorry, I'm not betting Corey Connors ever. I get what you're saying, but no.
I just think this is a really good fit for him. It really just the vibes are immaculate. I mean, we had the first Canadian winner in 69 years last year. Nice. Why not do 2 in a row? There's a lot of classy Canadians in this field. And as far as guys that you're looking at, driving distance, Corey Connors hits the ball pretty far. Timmy. Thanks for your money last week again, Timmy.
Yeah, you're going to drive off all of our listeners.
Hey, they keep challenging me. I'm going to keep taking them. Chelsea, you got to jump in.
There's a South Dakotan you haven't taken money from.
Not yet. Chelsea, you got to slide into the DraftKings and throw your money on the table. Let's go, girl.
So Corey Connors, fine. I mean, like I said, I understand. I like
22-1 though. That seems decent for a field this week.
It's not bad, but I just like Sahith at 18-1 better. I mean, just frankly, he's playing really good golf.
Theegala?
Yeah, and he keeps getting like better week on week on week. He's getting this really well-rounded game where a lot of the inconsistencies
he's so hot right now, so hot,
are just kind of fading away. I mean, like if you look at what he did at the PGA Championship, I mean, he gained 9 strokes on the field. He gained 4.1 on approach. He gained 6.1 putting.
And his short game is incredible.
He didn't lose in any category, really. He was damn near flat, around the green, but he didn't need to be better than that because he was knocking stuff close. I mean,
you might be onto something because off the tee here, which is his weakness, is not as penal as it was at Colonial. And that's where he got into trouble. Colonial was just missing fairways, just not putting the ball in play and shutting himself out of those opportunities. You miss the fairways here, yeah, it's not as good, but you're still looking at a wedge to a 9-iron in, and you're going to be able to spin the ball better. You couldn't spin shit out of the Bermuda rough at Colonial.
And I think if you look at Theegala just in general, I mean, I think that, like I said, a lot of the stuff that we worried about from time to time with him is slowly just kind of like
it's better.
It's normalizing. I mean, if you look at strokes gained off the tees, 9th in this field over the last 24 rounds. If you look at birdie or better rate, he's 15th in this field. Greens and regulation, 8th in this field. I mean,
he's hot.
He's just doing all the stuff that you want to look at. And where I actually kind of thought that maybe he'd be a little bit down in approach, but he's actually 13th overall for overall approach. So it's just kind of 18-1 seems like a really good number on somebody who's in as good a form as Theegala is in.
So Theegala comes in 37th in my model, and that's because I went out 36 rounds here, and his opportunities gained is 147th. His fairways gained is 133rd, 148th. So that once you narrow it down to 24 rounds, both of those figures are way better, and that's he's number 4 in bogey avoidance, which is going to be important here. Number 2 in putting, which is obviously important here. Number 6 in birdies or better gain. This guy's and 16th in par 3 scoring. That's great. That's great all around. He's definitely going to be in my DFS pool because he's going to score a shit ton of points. I just don't know that I like him quite as much. I could be wrong. I'm not sold on betting him. Maybe that's on me because I love Theegala. I think he's outstanding, and I think that he's every bit capable of winning this thing. Something's catching me up though. I think Connors. I'm zoned in on Connors, and I'm zoned in on a really soft line on Sam Burns.
Well, go ahead and talk about Sam Burns because, like, the thing with for me, it's the Gala. For you, it's Connors, and I mean, you can't really make a strong argument to not play either of them or bet either of them. They're right about the same number.
Yep.
I think if either one of them shows up and puts it all together, like they absolutely can win. So, I mean, I prefer the Gala, but I understand Connors.
Yeah. So Burns for me, he's top 5 in birdies or better gain. No, top 5 in tee to green. Number 7 on approach. He's just nails. Good at avoiding bogeys. Great putter. Top 12 in putting. Number 7 on approach. I already said that. 34th in long approach. But Sam Burns at 25-1 in this kind of field. I just think he has way more firepower than people give him credit for. A lot of people are lining up to bet Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry puts worse than Corey Connors. That should be a huge red flag. And Shane Lowry with the wedge on approach, awful. 134th in this field. So give me all the Connors and Burns when a lot of people are lining up for Lowry and even shoot, man, there's some really ugly people in this range. Cam Young.
I actually like Cam Young a little this week.
The driving distance really does it for you, but he's 138th in putting, 121st on par threes. That's not good. And fairways gained, which I thought was a pretty important stat, 113th. And yes, his approach distance metrics are incredible. This guy's nails from tee to green most of the time. Number 9th in birdies or better gains. So I like Cam Young. I just don't like him as much as the other guys in that range.
You hit on it, and I won't belabor him because there's somebody a little lower that I like better. But with Cam Young, the thing that I think has got me on him more than most weeks is exactly what you said. The driving distance is good. The off the tee game is good. His 2 best proximity ranges, 100 to 125 and 125 to 150. And so those are the 2 main spots that I project Cam Young is going to be hitting in from based on his distance off the tee. So I think this is as good a spot as we're going to have with Cam Young. And we've said it
American Corey Connors.
We've said it about him before, right? It's like if he can't get it done at some of these types of courses, like he's probably not going to get it done. I'm still going to go back to the window each time that he's on a setup like this because I think he's got it in him to finish one of these tournaments out, but hasn't done it yet.
I mean, where he's from in upstate New York isn't very far from Canada. He is the American side of the border from Corey Connors. I mean, they're the same player. Great ball strikers, great consistency from tee to green, no short game.
What are you thinking on our boy Mav McNeely?
He can put the lights out, that's for sure. And he's playing well right now. I like Mav.
I love Mav here. And what's wild is if you look at his stats, he's absolutely killing it tee to green the last like 8 tournaments. Mm-hmm. He's losing strokes on average putting, which to me
is weird. That's not him at all. I still am in the top 10 putting, number 9. But yeah, you're right. The ancillary stats. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, fairways gained awful, 124th and 140th on that very important approach bucket, and 129th on the par 4 ranges that we're going to deal with the most. But everything else looks really good. Mav is definitely in play. At 35-1, that's decent.
35-1, and like I said, you got to narrow the stat spectrum on Mav a little bit and try and eliminate as much of the early season coming back.
He was awful. Yeah, those 12 rounds extra that I'm counting are definitely hurting him in the stat department. But he's hot right now. He's been playing great.
He's looking good, and like we keep saying about this field, like I do think that they're one of the guys that we've actually his name is probably going to end up winning this thing. So I do like some of these guys that are, a little near the top of the board.
So at the same number, I'm going to challenge you here. Adam Scott, 35-1, Tom Kim, 35-1. I think they're both appropriately priced. I think because Tom Kim has been hot the last few weeks, that he's going to set up well here, except for the driving distance. I see in a lot of top tens and all these stats, especially on approach, especially in the short area approach. He's a short course assassin. We saw him at Sedgefield. We saw him in Las Vegas twice. These are courses that don't really have enough teeth to keep Tom Kim away from close proximity on approach. This guy's just awesome. And Adam Scott, not by Adam Scott standards, this guy can't find a fairway to save his life this year, but everything else looks spectacular. Are we in on either one of those guys as opposed to Mav McNeely? Because I'm interested in all three. I'm trying to narrow it down because my betting card can't be half this field.
No, for sure. And for me, it's Mav. The upside of Mav, I think, is better than Scott or Kim. If I had to pick between Kim and Scott, I probably actually lean Adam Scott, just historically a better ball striker. Like Tom Kim, he's showing some signs of life the last 2 weeks, but I mean, he's still losing strokes on approach. He's losing strokes putting. It's so short course, accuracy driven, need to make putts in his situation. I just don't know that he's got the wherewithal to win. Like, I think,
yeah, good point.
I think Adam Scott, if you get any semblance of vintage Adam Scott can absolutely win here.
Oh yeah.
So, but I got to stand behind Mav. I think Mav, as far as like a trend is concerned, Mav is trending closer to winning than those two.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that completely, but yeah, you're definitely on point with the way Mav's been playing lately. Definitely trending in the right direction. Let's go down to the 40s and 50s. Anybody catch your eye, Connor?
40s and 50s.
Not much for me.
No, everything I've got 60 and beyond.
Yeah, Akshay at 45, his putting's been so bad. It's a problem, and not great distance-wise off the tee is okay, but finding fairways is still going to be important here. Good drives gained, he falls off the wayside, and even though he's great on approach in these buckets, that's about all he has going for him at this golf course.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Akshay chill for a minute. Like,
yeah, he's been cold since his win. Since we cashed in on him, he's been enjoying himself. Not on the course, but off the course, he's been doing great.
Yeah, just thriving.
Thriving with millions of dollars, killing us every step of the way. We haven't burned through all of our winning money yet, so thanks for asking, Akshay.
Yeah, we should send him a DM, just see if we can get reimbursed a little bit.
Is there any reason not to play the defending champion of this event, who actually sets up better at this course than he did last year, Nick Taylor? That seems like a good pick for me. 60-1 for the defending champ.
And he continues to play well. He's playing
great.
He's not really. I would lean more on you for why he sets up good, because for me, I emphasize too much distance.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm probably a fade on him. I might have him in the DFS pool, but I'm probably taking a pass on betting him.
He came in 17th in opportunities gained, which vaulted him to 22nd overall in my model, 13th on the approach, and 4th in that key distance metric. He's a very accurate player, very consistent player, but terrible on par threes, which is going to hurt him here, and 98th in fairways gained. So not the most accurate player off the tee, but great on approach when he is in the fairway. I just think he fits this course better than he did last year, which is crazy to think because, I mean, he took down our Tommy Fleetwood pick last year. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, which sucks, guys.
I remember that because we were like, Tommy's going to finally do it. And then 72-foot putt on the playoff hole. And there goes Tommy.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, Tommy, as per usual.
Did great. Top 5 cashed.
I will see your Nick Taylor, and I will raise you a Doug Gim. I like.
Oh boy! All this time I've been talking about Doug Gim, and you're like, "Nah, Doug Gim, nah, Doug Gim that." But yeah, you're right. Doug Gim should be in the field this week. Number 6 in fairways gained. Great off the tee player. 21st in tee to green. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid.
Yeah, and honestly, like he just hasn't. he's not really losing strokes anywhere. The problem is he's just not really gaining strokes anywhere the
No,
last few like
he's
that
not
last.
making birdies these days.
But if you go back and look at the little run that he had, he's been cold for a few tournaments. But if you go back and look at starting with the Farmers
Yeah,
all the way up to the Valspar, I
that's when
mean,
I was talking about him. Of course, I remember.
he was gaining a ton. I mean, tee to
This
green, he
dude
was
annihilates par fours and par fives.
in tee to green. To your point, he was gaining about 6 strokes on the field each tournament.
Hmm.
Approach like spiked all the way up to 6 strokes gained at one point, and his putter got hot a couple of times in there. So
Key.
really, we just need Doug Gim to do what he's capable of, which again, he showed some signs of life at the PGA Championship. Didn't put it all together in a timely enough manner, finished 35th. But if you look at what his strokes gain metrics were that week, I mean, he gained 6.5 strokes tee to green, and 2.7 of that was off the tee. So to your point, very accurate off the tee game. Not exactly a slouch, averages around 296. The one thing that I was surprised to find out is he does hit greens in regulation around 73% of the time, which translates into a pretty good birdie or better rate because he knocks it close. He's up there in opportunities gained as well. In the last, believe it or not, in the last 24 rounds, he's still up there. So,
Yeah. So I must say that I was on the guy who killed me, absolutely dead to me a few weeks ago. Like I was super high on him, and he burned me with a miscut, burst into flames. Adam Svensson was at 75-1, and I was all over that shit, like flies on shit. And he's already moved to 60-1, and I'm completely out on him again. So if you got the line on Adam Svensson at 75-1, that's a pretty decent sized bet. But 60-1 Adam Svensson, I'm still scared. Like I'm burned. Like this guy torched me a few weeks ago.
yeah, like I said, I'm a pass on almost all the Canadians. I got one incredibly long shot that I've fallen in love with, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty much a pass on him.
Svensson, number 6 in my model, and I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready for him to just brand me with the hot Canadian iron, and he's probably gonna do it. Like 75-1, I got a nice price on him there yesterday, and he's already past where I'm even willing to touch him. So, Adam Svensson, I wish you the best of luck this week in your national tournament, but my God, please don't hurt me again. After that, I'm going to go down to a little guy that's been on quite a heater, and quietly, we've talked about him many times over the years. S.H. Kim, 100-1. Rosie agrees.
I can understand how you get to SH Kim.
He's on a heater. He's playing well last 3 weeks, but yeah, before that. Oh no, the Canadian agrees with Connor that a Canadian's not going to win for the second time in 70 years.
Yeah, SH Kim is fine, especially at 100-1. I like going back to our guy Bud Colley at 150-1.
I'm ready to get hurt by Bud Colley again too. He rates very highly for me, but I'm afraid. Like he's torched both of us this year.
He's still rated out 17th in my model this week. And
yeah, oh I know. Yeah,
I mean,
he's up there with me too.
Like everything in the metrics outside of driving distance and putting are really pretty solid for Bud Colley. And like,
yeah,
not that he was ever like a
25th.
lights out putter, but he's certainly a better putter than 126 over the last 24 rounds in this field. So
I have him as 45th, so that's encouraging.
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. If you spread your model out longer or you isolate it to certain surfaces, like his putting stats will pop up. So yeah, I really can't find a reason not to bet him at 150-1. This is a player that we definitely think can win some tournaments, and
he is the next Davis Riley.
he totally could be ninth in this field for overall tee to green. Yeah,
All right, you don't have to sell me on Bud Colley. Like this is the dude that we both bromance over. So yeah, I love Bud Colley. 25th in my model, so not much different than you. What are we doing with Chuck Hoffman and JJ Spawn? These guys that have been playing well on short courses, that rate out well for short courses, been playing okay lately. Well, at least in Hoffman's case, he's playing well. But JJ Spawn, what happened to JJ Spawn? This guy used to be our little short course assassin.
this feels like one of those weeks where he's going to come out of nowhere.
Right.
Exactly that.
So I was like, it's like, what do we do with JJ Spawn? Because he's pissing me off.
Yeah, the problem with JJ Spawn is you almost have to commit to betting him every week because you're not going to see it coming.
No. Absolutely not. It's
And
not allowed. It's not allowed. We're not allowed to know in advance when JJ Spawn's going to play well.
You got to look at the course type and look at the guy that JJ Spawn is, and this is a course that makes sense for him. There's not going to be any statistical model that's going to tell you to play JJ Spawn here, but
he's 12th in mine. I'm really curious.
He's 88th in mine. I don't know how the hell you got him to 12th, but yeah, I could see the bet, especially at the number, but yeah, I'm not playing in the deep end of this pool too much. I got one incredibly long shot that I researched, and that's it.
So along with Bud Cauley, I'm also going to toss out Chandler Phillips, who tied for 13th last week.
I do like Chandler Phillips.
Accurate. Not a long hitter, but he is straight as an arrow, very consistent from tee to green, accuracy wise. He could do well here, and he did really well at Colonial. I was shocked because I was like, oh, do I want Chandler Phillips because he rates out poorly last week at Colonial and played extremely well. I put him in DFS, but I just was too chicken. I'm not chicken this week. I'm playing some Chandler Phillips in the betting card.
Chandler Phillips, Hayden Springer, a couple of guys that we've been talking about a little bit. Springer makes here too.
Yeah. Max Grazerman? No?
Oh, the old grease bucket.
Yeah, maximum grace bucket. Justin Suh hasn't been playing well. Hayden Buckley last week. How about our boy Hayden Buckley shooting 65 on Friday? That'll help the old scoring average.
I don't know how. I think he finally got to you.
I think he forgot what day it was. Dude finishes top 5 at Colonial out of absolutely nowhere.
There's a question for you, Bo.
Oh my God, Grayson Sig. No, thank you. I'll pass. Let's see where I want to. Now I got 13th in my model. Jesus Christ, Grayson Sig. Not bad. Not a good putter. Not great at making birdies, but everything else looks okay. 100 to 1. Yeah.
I'd take a shot. Probably
you could do worse than Grayson Sig. He rates out well.
Yeah, Grayson Sig is actually a serious guy to look at 100 to 1. I mean, his approach metrics are really good. The knock on him, honestly, would probably be that he's pretty short off the tee. He doesn't make many birdies. So I think it would be hard for him to win because I don't know that he's going to make enough.
Top 20 bet. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think top 20 is probably more where I'd live on Grayson Sig. You're going to have to make birdies here. I'm guessing the score is going to end up being somewhere between 18 and 22. So it's just not a Grayson Sig type of tournament.
Well, this is it pains me to say, but what about our boy Pearson Coody? Red hot Pearson Coody.
Rated out decent for me too.
I know he's an accurate guy. Short game, not great, but that's okay. Pearson Coody is a birdie making machine, and we've seen him when he's playing well, which he has been lately. This guy's pretty talented. His brother's more consistent for sure.
Yeah, I think the best thing about Pearson Coody here is you get the distance, you get the wedge play, and he makes a ton of birdies. You just hope
he's in position.
You hope that he keeps it accurate and hits everything that he needs to and makes the birdies. I mean, that's the problem with Pearson is just what are you going to get? Are you going to get the consistent version, or are you going to get all over the map? And if it's all over the map, I mean, it's over
200 to 1. I just need him to be okay.
I do like how he rates out 30th in my model. And like I said, he's got the right combination of tools that I looked at this week, especially a lot of the distance metrics.
So and a lot of people are saying, oh, yeah, and you mentioned it earlier, somebody we talk about a lot, a well-known player is going to win this thing. I have a feeling we're going to get some of these deeper shots contend for this title. And I know you have a deep shot who happens to be Canadian just by happenstance. And I have one that you've talked about many, many times, short course specialist, who's coming in at number 3 in my model at 350 to 1. You want me to go first, or you want to let loose with your Canadian dark horse?
Mine is 600 to 1. So
okay, so I'll get mine out of the way because he's your boy on short courses. Ches Reavie, 350 to 1, and rates out really well. He is a short course specialist. He hits the ball shorter than I do, but he's consistent. And on courses that don't necessarily require distance off the tee, he's pretty consistently good at the top of the leaderboard. It seems like he only makes a third of his cuts each year, but the ones he makes are on courses like this.
30% of the time it works every time.
I mean, Ches, help us out, brother. 350 to 1. This better be it.
I think I would lump Ches in with a lot of the guys we're talking about. So down here for those odds, like I think Ches is a pretty reasonable play. With Ches, it's kind of the same deal. You just need the good version of him hitting solid approach shots, and you also need him to make putts. Like he's got to make some putts. So
well, 600 to 1 Canadian. I hadn't heard of him. Pre-show, full disclosure, I literally said who.
So my I've done dumber shit with $5 bet for the week is Miles Creighton, 600 to 1.
Creighton Blue Jays from Omaha.
The very same. No, he is a Canadian. He's from the complete opposite side of Canada to where the tournament is being played. I think it's a 21-hour train trip to get to Hamilton, but naturally. But no, this is actually, again, every week I try and find somebody that's off the beaten path. And this is a Corn Ferry guy that has 4 top 25s, including 3 top 10s and a runner up. So far this season, he's made 8 of 11 cuts. So what I like about him is he averages about 296 off the tee, which is not crazy long, but he is super accurate. He's about a 70% fairways and regulation guy. Also hits a shitload of greens in regulation, averaging almost 80% of greens in reg. His putting is very middle of the field, but he doesn't lose strokes, which is excellent. He ranks out 9th on the Corn Ferry Tour right now for birdie or better rate. And he's also in the top 20 overall for strokes gained on par 4s, which, as we know with the par 70, there's a lot of par 4s. So I like him as the outright. He's been very close to winning on the Corn Ferry. I also like him at top 20 at plus 1,400. And then I, believe it or not, love him as top Canadian at plus 5,000.
That's good money.
So that is.
I thought for sure you're going to throw out Etienne Papineau.
I did look at Etienne Papineau, but alas, he did not make the cut. I also looked at an American that's down here a little bit called Alistair Docherty.
Yeah, you're better than me.
Don't bet him.
No.
But this Miles Creighton is actually a pretty legitimate bet, and I think that this is in a lot of ways a misprice. Like he is really playing good golf over on the Corn Ferry. So,
yeah. All right, good one. All right, we got to breeze through DFS. My God, we are running long today. Apologies to all those affected by our long-winded show, but we're going to breeze through DFS because we're going to talk about the same guys.
The club as well. This would be a wrestling plan.
All right, Connor.
Ready, set, go.
Yeah. How many people are going to have Rory McIlroy in their lineup?
Just 45% of our closest friends.
Ouch. I'm going to probably have 30% Rory McIlroy.
It's terrifying because obviously the projections we see are based on sharp people that use modeling, and 37% of our closest friends have them in their lineups, which means once you get some casuals in here, that number is probably going higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Wild.
fine. That's fine. I'll be underweight on Rory, not for the simple fact that leverage wins DFS tournaments. And again, if he wins, you tip your cap. But chances are you're better off being on the leverage side with somebody else because it's going to help you build a better lineup overall. And if Rory doesn't have his best stuff, you're going to knock out half the field in one fail swoop.
Well, and I think
That's
what
the
I
name
like,
of the game.
I think what I like a lot about the way the pricing is done this week is like legitimately, you can actually start with 3 guys above 9,500 this week
Mhm.
and still build somewhat of a decent lineup because there are some values down in the 5s and 6s here. It's a high risk, high reward type of lineup, but I mean, I've already built one that's Rory, Sahith, and Cam Young.
Nice.
So it's, again, you know how I play DFS. I have a bunch of all or nothing type of lineups, and then I have a bunch of balance builds. So I kind of spread it around. But
I'm gonna have a big pool this week because I'm gonna have more variety at the bottom, like you said, because I want to get my expensive guys in there. It's a top heavy field. You have to take your medicine at the top so you can afford a big buckshot approach on some of these long shots that are gonna make you different.
don't disagree. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I mean, I'll tell you just to be long and short of it up top. I mean, the 4 guys that I got my eye on, regardless of rostership, I'm looking at Rory, Thagala, Cam Young, and Mav McNeely. Those are the 4 that I'm looking at over 9K.
Love it. I love it. Why aren't we talking about Tommy Fleetwood? Because he doesn't score DFS points.
Not only has he not scored DFS points, but I mean, I just don't know if he can win. Like he truly feels like a player that it's not just a stigma. Like I don't know if he can get it done.
He definitely has the game like on the surface level. You just look at the stats and he's incredible. But the proof is in the pudding. The dude doesn't win. He's English Cam Young. But at least Cam Young scores 81 fantasy points a week.
I don't know what it is, man. This feels like a Cam Young week. Like I think I'm going to be a little heavier on him than I have been in probably a year.
I'm definitely going to be on Mav and DFS because he's going to be getting some leverage. Sam Burns, too. I love Sam Burns. Oh, give me all the Sam Burns.
Yeah, I think Sam Burns is a really interesting play, and it's a pretty good leverage play. Honestly, the only better leverage play above 9K is Cam Young. Cam Young's projected around 12.9. Sam Burns is around 17.7. So,
Sheesh.
which, believe it or not, 17.7 is a leverage play this week, which is kind of crazy.
Yikes. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what you got to do. I'm trying to find all my favorites here.
Getting down below 9K, guys I'm looking at, I got a lot of interest in continuing to ride with Aaron Rye at 8,900, just playing good golf. This is another course that should set up pretty good for him. Keith Mitchell, this is team no putt because nothing we can do can get Keith Mitchell putting, but Keith Mitchell is one of the best drivers of a golf ball on tour. So 8,700, I like that quite a bit.
He can't putt.
No. One of the bets that I have that we didn't talk about, and I love him in DFS as well, is Kevin Yu at 7,500. Again, more team no putt, but Kevin Yu has even a better toolkit than Keith Mitchell in terms of approach metrics. So I think that's another good guy to look at. And then I mentioned him in betting, Doug Gim at 7,400. I'll definitely be firing up.
Yep, all agreed there. Let's see. We got Gim is priced very well. And a lot of these guys that I'm talking about don't necessarily score a lot of DFS points. They're more these situational type guys. I'm gonna take a stab at Kevin Yu for sure. Doug Gim for sure. Svensson, I can't do it in DFS, dude. Even when he's on, he doesn't score DFS points. Seamus Power, 7,200, rates out very well, puts the lights out. Not a top 10 guy. He hasn't 0 top 10s this year. However, consistent, 10 out of 13 cuts. Very good putter, keeps him in contention. And I think he's a good fit here. He's a Pebble Beach specialist.
Yep.
It's going to be your short course, good putter. It's just a good fit. And so, no, I'm not expecting him to go out and score 100 DFS points, but if he gets me 70, 75, 80, we're happy at 7,200. Go Seamus.
Yeah, and he's in my top 20 on my modeling as well, so he's definitely in my player
Same.
pool. I'm seeing the same thing you are, and you hit the nail on the head with the Pebble Beach comparison. I think there are some similarities.
Yep. and we have Torbjorn Olsen, who's probably going to make the field here, but I'm going to go cheap just like you are here. Down here, S.H. Kim, 65 fantasy points a game this year, 13 out of 17 cuts, mispriced at 6,800. I think he's better than that, and he's 10 clear of anybody else in fantasy points. Kevin Tway, our boy Kevin Tway, in the field, in the pool. Chan Kim in the pool. Mac Meisner, good job last week. Hot boys stay in the pool. Bud Colley, 6,400.
We know what you keep
go.
out in your pool, apparently.
Yeah. My pool is going to be gigantic. I mean, we're talking 35, 40 players in this week's pool.
Yeah, I have those guys, and then I've got a couple of other oddball ones to throw in. CT Pan actually rated out surprisingly well for me. I think the big thing that pushed him over the top is his wedge game, at least wedge on approach. Rated out number 3 in this model from 100 to 125. Driving distance is a little concerning, but I alluded to about 4 par 4s that actually are probably drivable by a lot of guys, not CT Pan, but that would put that 100 to 125 approach square in his wheelhouse on 4 of these par 4s. So I kind of like CT Pan on the way he sets up here. Justin Lauer continues to rate out well, 6,400. I think you can do a lot worse. And then Johnny Vegas, this is, again, he's kind of in that same vein of like every now and then he's just going to pop up and make sense. So Johnny Vegas actually rates out pretty decent. He always gains off the tee. He's got pretty good distance, good par 4 scoring.
Team no putt.
Absolutely team no putt. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think he's dead last in this field for putting.
Every field.
In 6,100, to be honest, he's probably not my favorite play, but he is somebody down there that like does tend to pop up.
He's a guy.
And he scores some DK points from time to time.
Oh yeah. When he makes a cut once every 3 months, he's definitely in the running. I'm going to reiterate Chandler Phillips, 5,900.
Yep.
How about our guy Brandon Wu rates out well here for some reason? I have no idea why. 5,900, having a terrible season, but I'm going to throw him in there just because I can.
Yeah, Brandon Wu is okay in mine, but yeah, he's having a pretty piss poor season. Surprisingly,
Pearson's cheaper than Parker this week. Oh.
So here's my maybe a feel good play, and you don't need much of him, but Joel Damon actually rated out surprisingly.
Let's go. Short course specialist, Joel. Let's go.
Another guy, team no putt. You're looking at 100. The only guy worse than him really is Johnny Vegas. So yeah, you're not going to get the putting out of Joel, but Joel's approach metrics actually have been surprisingly good, and his opportunities gained over the last 24, he's second in the field. Now, why isn't he doing better than he is? Because 149th in the field in putting means that your opportunities gained haven't necessarily mean dick. So you're going to need him to make some putts. But
I have him at 147th, so yeah, that's a big improvement.
Yeah, there's 2 places. There's hope.
But 16th in fairways gained, 11th in opportunities gained. That's decent. He's a play. He's a play.
Especially at that price.
Shout out to Seth. I'm going to put Callum Tarrant in the field. Don't know how many shares I'll actually play, but I'm going to throw him in there just because why? Where else is he going to pop?
Real plays only, sir.
Yeah.
Kevin Doherty is another guy that we've talked about a few weeks prior. The biggest thing to like about him is if you really subscribe to Bomb and Gouge, this is going to be one of your dudes because he is number 1 in this field over the last 24 in combined distance and strokes gained off the tee. So he really, really excels at driving a golf ball. That is about where it stops, which is why he's 56.
He sounds like a lot like this other guy from NorCal that I do Bomb and Gouge with, Cameron Champ.
The old Cam Champ. Yeah, he's a very, very similar player.
Doherty and Champ are your Bomb and Gouge long shots that you can throw in your pool just for vibes.
Outside of that, I got a little interest in Rico Hui, maybe continuing to roll.
Let's go, Rico.
5,400. I mean, that's not a bad price.
What a nice guy.
Talked about Hayden Springer at 53. My buddy Trace Crow, who we, if nothing else, like his name. Down there at 53. But outside of that, it really honestly it would just be the couple long shots that I threw out either earlier. ETN, Papineau, and my boy Miles Creighton are the only guys who've got really at the bottom here.
Gross. But yeah, if you're gonna make a big pool like I am, and you're gonna enter some max entry 50 to 150 lineup tournaments, you're gonna need to spread it out. You're gonna get different. Gonna win some big money this week, everyone. Besides Rory, who do you have winning this thing, and at what final score?
So I am going to get a little wild this week, and I am going to roll with Cam Young. I think that Cam Young gets it done here. And I'm going to say right around, I'm going to say 19.
Wow. I'm going to say the same score. I had decided in advance, 19 under par. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. Corey Connor.
No.
Throughout the land with banners waving overhead.
God, please stop with the Corey Connors.
I'm not playing Corey Connors any other time this year. He's dead to the show. But I just got a good feeling about Corey Connors at the RBC Canadian at Hamilton. Well, the hat pick, is it ready? It didn't do that great last week.
And we had the lowest number that we've probably had pulled out of the hat, and it still did not succeed.
Yeah, it wasn't a good odds thing to pull that big of a number.
Do you want to kiss the hat for good luck?
No, it would curse it.
All right. With the hat pick, lucky number 46.
Go ahead.
Adam Svensson.
No way.
I swear to God, I'll send you a screenshot.
Oh, Canada.
How does the hat know? The hat picked
The hat
a Canadian?
knows. And my number 46 is my boy, usually your boy this week, Doug Gim.
The hat might.
He's
we
on
said
something.
last week. Maybe the hat's got fire this week.
The hat might have been sitting in the sun for too long.
It hasn't been warm enough here yet. The hat.
Svensson's burned me. Gim has been good for me this year. Gim has been my placement bet extraordinaire this year. So the good vibes are on Doug Gim. But Svensson, I'm praying, Adam, just do okay for us this week, please.
Bet Miles Creighton instead.
No whammies, Adam Svensson.
Well, this has been a very long-winded.
Yeah, 19th hole. We went 1 hour 7 minute and extra kilometers. This is $1.07 Canadian for about 81 cents American.
We got the Memorial next week at Muirfield.
In Ohio, Dublin, Ohio. That's gonna be a tough one. That's carnage.
Dude, we got a good stretch coming up. Memorial, then U.S. Open.
And Pinehurst is Pinehurst number 2 for the U.S. Open. So they're gonna go from Muirfield Village to Pinehurst number 2. Woo! That's some carnage. That's 2 weeks of nasty carnage.
I'm getting excited for the U.S. Open.
Pinehurst is gonna eat those fuckers alive.
Yeah, man.
U.S. Open setup. Pinehurst number 2. Those turtleback greens are going to. Oh, it's gonna suck for all those guys playing. We might have an over par winner in that week.
I don't know about all that, but yeah, it's gonna be wild.
I think so. I think they're gonna be like, oh, we saw what you did to our beloved Valhalla with a little bit of rain. It ain't gonna happen at Pinehurst. U.S. Open's USGA's like, good luck.
Good luck.
All right. From Conor Coughlin, I am Bo McBrayer. Join us next week for the Memorial, the Golden Bears tournament. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things. In Between Media. Rest in peace, Grayson Murray. We love you.